I recently went back to work full-time in an office away from home after working many years home-based, self-employed. And so I am now having fewer opportunities to do creative activities. And this is a Saturday morning for me. And I'm eager to play in my journal. I think what I'm going to do is go with this fatter tip for my initial doodle today. So this is a Sakura Pigma Sensei has a 10 on the end. The other one was the same brand and same kind, but had 06 on the end. Love them both, but I'll go with the thicker one for today. Before I jump in, I always like to, if I remember, pause and fully arrive, because I like my creativity time to come from a mindful place. And my goal is to relax and play, not necessarily to make a work of art. So I'm pausing now, closing my eyes, softening the body, just watching a round of breath or two. Letting go of busy thoughts in my mind. Fully arriving right here, right now. All right, I'm ready to jump in. So my idea for today is to just draw random curvy doodly shapes all over my page. As a way to divide the page into smaller and smaller segments. I think that's actually probably enough. Now I'm going to add some color with Ohuhu markers. Alcohol markers are new for me. Just got these, so I'm excited about playing. I've pulled out shades of pink and purple. And I'm going to use, there's a chisel and a brush tip. I'm going to use the brush. And I'm not an expert on these markers or really any supplies in particular. So I am experimenting live. And I say that because I'm not sure if this pen that I've used I think it's waterproof, but with these alcohol markers, I think that if I touch the black, it can smear it. And I really work to release perfectionism when I play in my art journal. Oh my goodness, my dog just burped. I don't know if you heard that. I lost my train of thought. I was talking about, that if it does smear, that's okay, because I do really try to embrace what I call unintended marks or unintended smears. I sneak through here. But anyways, I'm attempting to not touch the black as I color these pieces in. I am taking care of my grand cat, Charlie. She's now up here checking out what I'm doing. I'm not sure if she's in the video yet or not. Sometimes she makes an appearance walking right across. So I try not to overthink what I'm doing. But I will say that I often do use the same color in a few spots because the marker's open. I often will do odd numbers of things. I think this is 5. Although I don't want to get obsessed with counting. I want to get into a flow. After a busy week at work, or even if you're a caregiver, just an adult in general, you've probably had to make a lot of decisions. And decision fatigue is a real thing. If you're experiencing it, know that it's not in your imagination. I write articles for Women's Brain Health magazine, and one of them was about decision fatigue. And there's science showing that it does indeed exist. And if you're feeling it, you don't want to bring a ton of decisions into your art journal process if you can avoid it. So I'm tuning into the sound the marker makes on the page, practicing mindfulness. I am listening. I'm also feeling. There's a feel as the marker goes across the page that sort of vibrates up the marker gently into my hand. And because I pre-selected all pinks and purples in advance and have them all pulled out, it's very easy to just grab whatever's next, not overthink it. See, I've got my first pet hair making an appearance. I think that was a cat hair. I have 2 dogs, Doodles, and my grand cat comes to visit quite a bit. So you can tell this is a pet-loving house. I'd love to hear in the comments if you have pets and if they like to join you while you create. Oh, this one's a bright one. I do know from the little bit that I've played with these markers and others that often the color on the page can look quite a bit different than what you see on the lids. So I quite enjoy just grabbing and going and not testing the color in advance. But that's because I'm making an abstract page and I'm really just playing. So it does not matter what the color is. I'm practicing rolling with it and not pursuing a particular outcome, getting lost in the process. So you see here, I touched the black a little bit and you can see it did smear a little bit. So my suspicion was correct about those Sensei pens combined with these markers. Now I know that people do all kinds of fancy things with alcohol markers, shading, and whatnot. But I am very much a creator that is focused on process and not outcome. I pick up some skills along the way, but skills are not the goal of my relaxation creations. So, maybe someday I'll play around with shading with these. But for now, I'm quite content to keep this really simple Just a straight up coloring in of the space in a single section with a single color. Now the doggy's decided he needs a big, noisy drink. So this is truly a spontaneous, raw video where you are observing me in real time, in real life, with all of my real life noises, if you can hear them. Sometimes these microphones and recording systems have quite good noise, background noise suppression, so maybe you didn't hear it at all. And this is another bright one. Looks almost the same as that last one, doesn't it? So there are maybe subtle variations that my eye is not picking up. I'll just do 3 of those since it was so similar. Oh my goodness, this is a great example. Look at the color of that on the end. It looks pink. It's called tender pink. And now when I'm coloring it here, like the nib itself looks very orange. And the color on the page is almost like a fluorescent peach to me. Not at all what I expected, but will create a little pop of variation on the page for sure. I think I'm going to go in this big one. Part of me thought, oh, since this is an outlier, maybe I'll keep it in smaller spaces, but I felt called to put it here. I hope you can hear that marker scritching sound. It almost has an ASMR quality. If you don't know what ASMR is, you could look it up. I don't know what it stands for, and it's hard for me to explain what it is, but I do sometimes find it relaxing to watch certain ASMR videos before bed. I teach and practice yoga nidra meditation, so I'm more apt to do that to help me sleep, but sometimes I do like ASMR. All right, this one looks purple on the end. Let's see what we get. So it is purple. It's like a lilac, a soft lilac, I guess. Let's see what it's called. It's called Thistle. So because it's Saturday morning, I have a lovely, leisurely chunk of time available. And I may keep at this until I finish the entire page. But I've always been a fan of infusing little pockets of creativity into my day whenever I can. So I'll often leave a piece like this, partially finished, out on the dining room table maybe. And then periodically, when I have a moment, maybe waiting for water to boil or something like that, I might sit down and just hop in, doodle a bit, color a bit, just for even 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and relax a little bit and then hop back out and leave it for another day. Now I can't remember where I did this. Now my tendency is usually to fill my pages with color. I rarely do 100% black and white, like just do black doodles and leave the page white. I rarely leave white space, but I'm open to it. Now, I hadn't thought of this until just now, but there's nothing to say that adjoining pieces can't have the same color. So now, rather than just do a single section of color, I've made this whole section that color. Maybe I'll do it again here. These two. So as you can see, experimenting, playing without a pre-decided plan. Might do it here as well. Checking in with my body. I noticed because I was having fun and concentrating, I'd let a little bit of tension creep into my body, so I took a breath and softened my shoulders and jaw. This one looks almost like the one right beside it. I don't know if you noticed, but I know that it's not, that I didn't grab the same color again because I'm grabbing from the one side, and when I'm finished with the color, I'm putting it down on the other side. I was pausing there for a brief moment, thinking about if I was going to leave anything white. Often these decisions are just like a feel. Like I feel that something needs to be or wants to be colored. And as I said before, I rarely feel like leaving anything white. But I totally see the beauty in leaving some things white. So I'm trying to cultivate an eye or a feel for when leaving things white would be something I do. But I will admit leaving things white feels more like requires concentration and a bit of discipline for me, really. Maybe that's why I resist it. If it doesn't just happen, I don't want to make it happen. Well, stay tuned to see if I end up leaving anything white or not. I don't even know yet. Another pet hair. I think that one was Zoe's, my black Labradoodle. I will admit, for coloring big swatches of color, these alcohol markers feel really good. As you can see, they cover well, and even though when you first lay down the color there's a little bit of streaky, it almost always fades. Although I'm noticing these purples stay a little bit more streaky, but that could be because I went heavier with the color or maybe re-went over something. I'm not sure. All right, I have one more color that I've selected. And this is it. Faded lilac. Okay, I think I'm going to leave these white spots. I think I'm going to leave them. Yep, we'll see. Because now I'm going to come back in with my same 1, 0, or 10 Pigma Sensei pen. And I'm going to doodle in some of these spaces. Very simple, repeating patterns. And I am very much I'm a recovering perfectionist. And so I really try to embrace what I call wonky. My goal is not to get completely straight lines. It's not to have them equidistant. It's just to put pen to paper and relax. So now I'm doodling in one of the white spaces, which I quite like. Now I'll do the lines here, but going the other direction. Maybe I'll do that again in another spot. And maybe I'll do some circles. And again, I'll call them circle-ish. They might end up wonky, ovally, lumpy. By the time you're done filling in the whole page with color and marks, it never matters if things are a little bit wonky. And I'm varying the sizes a little bit. Sometimes doing little half circles going off the section. Mm-hmm. All right, another favorite doodle pattern of mine is a spiral. And when I get to the edge, I pretend it goes off and then carry on. And again, I'm not aiming to have perfect spirals. I'm not aiming to keep the distance between the lines the same. The lines don't even need to be smooth. I have a very forgiving, relaxed approach to playing in my art journal. Here we're going to do little eyelash shapes. Around the outside of that, so that's a little bit different, not doodling inside the shape. Maybe I'll do that around a few of these ones that look like teardrops. Well, I've concluded that I'm not a fan of leaving those white spaces. So I took a closer look in my box of markers and found a couple extra purple, one pink that I hadn't used yet. And I'm coming back in. Now I've already doodled here, so I have to color in between the lines. That one's so soft, I almost thought it was white, but I do believe it's been colored. So this is another pink. It's called Blush Pink, Ballet Pink. And I suppose when I look at it on the page, it does remind me of a ballet shoe pink. But I don't think it really looks like the end of the pen. that feels better. Well, there you go. Answer to the question. Will I leave anything white? No, I won't. Not today. Okay, and now I'm going to continue with some more doodling. Extend the fun. Making a grid, kind of crosshatch pattern. Maybe here I'll do it curved, following the line of that. Not sure if oh yeah, see, if I were to do this one again, I would probably make a different choice because I see now that it's right beside one that I already did lines. But this is a really great example of how I make really quick, impulsive choices, trying not to overthink, and then roll with what is. All right, that's fine. Maybe I'll do the eyelashes on this one. Okay. And let's do sort of a bullseye. That one kind of lends itself to circular or circular-ish shapes. I wouldn't try to do that in here, for instance. All right, I'll do it here. And then maybe scallops. Really, really simple patterns that anyone can do. Even if you think you're not creative or you think you can't draw, you can do this. But I do find for some people, even doodling like this can feel intimidating, but I really encourage you to give it a try. I think some of us were judged, maybe had a harsh word from a teacher or adult in our life about our creativity when we were little, and then maybe put ourselves in a bucket and said, oh, I'm not creative. I think that's why a lot of people really enjoy coloring. Coloring is another great activity that can be relaxing and creative and have even fewer decisions than something like this. I run a weekly live class in my community on a platform called School that's called Calm and Creative Cocoon. And in there we do some simple doodly coloring like art journaling for about an hour each week, followed by a yoga nidra meditation. really easy meditation, deeply relaxing, perfect for beginners, usually done lying down. Sometimes people, when they first join the community, prefer to color. So some weeks I will provide a coloring page that has often some similarities to the piece we're going to create. But I often go into each week with only a rough idea of what I'm going to create. I don't typically do a sample in advance, and it is literally an opportunity to play together live. So here I've been doing sort of like little arrowheads in some of the skinnier spaces. Okay, I'm going to come back into ones where I've done scallops, at least some of these bigger ones, and then do another row of scallops inside, parallel-ish to the original. And then that can be kind of a fun thing to make the space fill in. And then I will sometimes color in certain parts. It can be quite eye-catching to have parts that are colored black. Actually, so another thing we could do is like come back in and color in some of these and make like a checkerboard. So if you're following along, I would encourage you to feel free to copy patterns that I'm doing or do something completely different. There is no right or wrong way to play in our art journals. As long as you are relaxed and having fun, that's what matters. And paying attention to your inner voice, watching for any negative inner critic voice that might be there and doing your best to quiet it. Say thank you very much, but no thanks. So this one's, because it's curved, this one was so easy to color in. This one I'm getting a little bit like confused about the checkerboard pattern. I don't know. So it ends up looking more like a string of attached diamonds here. See how the black coloring in makes it really pop. Now the pen that I am using is ideal for coloring in black. It's nice and thick and colors in well. If you've been doodling with a fine pen, you might want to swap out for a fatter tip if you have one, if you're doing the coloring. I mean, I've certainly colored in with the fine tip before, but boy, it really does require a great deal of patience. Something else you can do to help you relax while you doodle and to be mindful is to watch the breath, almost make it a meditation. Just observe the flow of breath in and out as you doodle, without trying to change the breath at all. I'm just taking a look around and deciding if I'm done or if I'm adding anything else. I think another easy fun one is to just do like asterisks, like little stars. Maybe slightly different sizes. Hearts are always fun. As I say, I generally like to do things in threes. I'm going to go do it up here around this teardrop with the eyelashes. So sometimes I'll leave sections in a doodly piece like this without pattern, and I might do that today. Not sure yet. Because as you can see, there are still some without doodles at all. So I'm going to come back into this one and do like what I did down here. I'll do the same up here. I don't work methodically section by section. As you can see, I'm moving all over the page. So it helps for me to have a pretty fast drying pen, because I put my arm through things. And, sometimes I end up with more unintended schmears. And that's all good. I've done a lot of the bigger spaces and left a lot of these smaller ones. So I mentioned that one of my favorites are these spirals, and I made these spirals big and a single one in each space. Another thing that I like to do is a series of small spirals. Oops, that one got really thick around the outside by accident. Not what I intended, but that's okay. And again, I have them start and stop and continue tucked in behind each other. So that's kind of cute. This was not what I intended, but maybe I'll make it a little accenty circle like I meant to do it. That's a feature spiral. All right, maybe I'll do it in here. They don't all need to be the same size. See, those ones touched. That was an unintended mark. I would have had some space there. That's okay. All right, let me do those little spirals one more spot. I have to be really small here. I don't have a lot of space. Okay. I think I'm going to call that finished. I've left a few spots without doodles, but overall, when I sort of pull back a little bit and look at it from a bit of a distance, it feels finished. So that was a fabulous Saturday morning creativity session for me. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to do something like this live and in person with me and other people in community, check out my Cocoon, the Calm and Creative Cocoon community on School. You can see the link in the description below.